Hey guys, hope you're having a great week. As many of you know, this week we're talking about a bit about self-development, a bit about making ourselves better, and a bit about how oftentimes we stand in our own way. We stop ourselves from being a success. We stop ourselves from believing that we have the ability to do what it takes to make things happen. And we let those self-doubts and the concerns get in our way. We let them stop us from seeing the success that we could be having. We let them stand in the way of something that's rightfully ours, right? And this week, that's what we've been focusing on. So hopefully you've had time to watch some of the other videos so far. You've had time to really think about yourself and your business and your self-development and how you feel about your business, some of your, how you feel about your self-confidence, how you feel about your self-belief. Do you truly believe that you can be a success? Do you truly believe that you can make it to the top and that you can be one of the best? Today we're going to continue along this topic and we're going to talk a bit about our strengths and weaknesses. This is something that I think oftentimes is forgotten, and we have a great opportunity in the industry to use our strengths and weaknesses to grow our business, but also to use the strengths and weaknesses of others to make us a complete whole, to make us work perfectly as a team. So when you're weak or you have a strength or a weakness rather, guess what? Your team can help you. They can be there to help support you. And we're going to talk a bit more about that. So today's focus is to really talk about what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and how these contribute to our overall self-confidence, our self-belief, and us being an overall success. So take out a piece of paper, take a couple quick minutes, and write down your strengths and weaknesses. At least try to come up with 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses. What are these? Why would you consider it a strength? Why would you consider it a weakness? Maybe even what has helped you develop this as a strength. Identify what it is. Has it always been a strength? Is it something you've learned over time? Same thing with the weaknesses. What is it? Why is it a weakness? Why do you struggle with it? Okay, write these things down. Think about these. This is something that I do on a regular basis. I like to identify my strengths and weaknesses at least monthly because I feel like they're constantly changing. As we're working on our self-development, our strengths and weaknesses change. Hopefully we are, gaining more strengths and we're recognizing more areas of improvement, more weaknesses, and we're making that happen. So get ready and let's dive in a bit more to our strengths and weaknesses, okay? So the first thing that we're going to talk about would be identifying your weakness. What is your weakness? What do you struggle with? This could be on a personal level. It could be that, you're shy and you don't like talking to people. It could be that, you don't believe that you truly can be a success. You don't believe that you're able to make things happen. It could also be on a business level. You're not great at prospecting. You're not good at closing the deal. Maybe you're not the best teacher at a class. What are your weaknesses? Okay? I love these 2 quotes. The first one that says, every weakness contains within itself a strength. So as you're identifying these weaknesses, think about that. Every weakness contains within itself a strength. So at some point, this can become a strong point. There's other strengths that you have that can overcome this weakness. Okay? But write them down and identify what they are. We don't want to focus on them too much. And that's what this quote down here by Roy says. Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Focus on your character, not your reputation. Focus on your blessings, not your misfortunes. So like anything, we want to focus on the positive. However, to help us improve and to help us grow, it's important that we identify our weaknesses, that we know what those weaknesses are. And guess what? We all have them. Every one of us have strengths and every one of us have weaknesses. But the people that overcome those weaknesses, that don't let those stop them, that don't let them be held back by those areas, that's what makes someone successful. And every single one of you can do that. Every single one of you can overcome whatever it is that's stopping you, whatever weakness you feel that's holding you back, whatever weaknesses you feel your team is being held back by. You can overcome this. You can work through this and see a huge difference. So take the time to really identify your weaknesses. What are they? How do they impact you? How have they impacted you? What are some weaknesses that you've had that you've overcome and they're now strengths or areas that you feel much more confident in? Take some time to really identify these. Sometimes you may even have the same. You may have a strength and a weakness. So for me, I love talking to people. That is one of my strengths. I love it. It helps me in sales. It helps me in prospecting. It helps me in classes. It helps me in my business. It helps me in training. I love it. But it's also a weakness of mine because guess what? Sometimes I don't have enough time to get everything done that I need to do. I don't have time for me sometimes because I'm busy talking with so many other people. That can also be a weakness. So sometimes you may have strengths and weaknesses that are the same, and that's okay. So identify those. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is identifying your strengths. This is much more fun, but oftentimes this is harder for people. People will make a list that's 20 to 30 items long for their weaknesses, and then there's strengths that they just can't identify. Well, think about what you're good at. Think about what you love doing, what you feel comfortable doing. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger said, strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. How many of us have been through hard times? How many of us have been through obstacles? How many of us have been through things that have changed our lives, whether it be for the good or the bad? And you've come out of those. You've come out of those stronger. You've come out of those with a new perspective on life. You've learned new things, and you're going to be able to use those things to help your team and other people that you come in contact with. Nothing happens just for the heck of it. Everything happens for a reason. We have to decide if we're going to choose to use that reason to better ourselves or to be a victim to our circumstances. Don't be a victim to your circumstances. Identify your strengths and use your struggles to help you become stronger. Okay? So, what are you good at? Maybe you're great at teaching. Maybe you're great at talking to people. Maybe you're super personable. Maybe you are great at connecting in one-on-ones. And the list could go on and on. What is it that you're good at? This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to be an expert, but what are your strengths? Okay? Joyce Meyer here says, over the years, I've learned that a confident person doesn't concentrate or focus on their weaknesses. They maximize their strengths. So the whole theme of this week is, do you truly believe in yourself? Do you know that you can make this work and that you're no different than any of the other people that have made this into a life-changing, multi-million-dollar business for them? Guess what? You can do it too if you work hard, stay committed, and don't concentrate on your weaknesses. Identify them, set a plan to move past them, and then focus on your strengths. Focus on the things that are going to make you better. Focus on the things that make your team better. So again, over the years, I've learned that a confident person doesn't concentrate on their or focus on their weaknesses. They maximize their strengths. Think about this as you're identifying the different strengths that you have. Identify what it is that you're good at and focus on those. As you focus on those and you implement a plan to make your weaknesses better, to work towards those and get better at those, and don't beat yourself over those, guess what? You're going to have more strengths than weaknesses. You're going to see success. You're going to believe in yourself. You're going to know that you can make it to the top. You can do it. Every single one of you can make it happen. You can be a success. Whatever success is for you, you can accomplish that. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Focus on what you're good at and go for it. You can do it. Okay, the next thing is with strengths and weaknesses, it's important to know your team. Do you know what your team, so your business builders, your customers, do you know what they're good at? Do you know their strengths and weaknesses? Do you know where they struggle a bit, what they maybe could improve on, or do you know what they're just amazing at? Do you know your team? Take some time to get to know your team. Ask them to identify some of their strengths and weaknesses. Ask them to get to know them a bit more. This is important. It will help you a ton. Once you know your team, work together. If you're weak in an area, Use a business builder that's strong in that area. Use them and work together, because as we maximize the strengths and weaknesses on our team and we help each other fill the gap when someone's short or when someone struggles, we as a team will be whole. We as a team will be a perfect moving machine, and we will be able to make a huge difference. Take the time to get to know your team, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and identify theirs, and then move forward. Identifying your strengths and weaknesses, guys, is one step, but it makes a huge difference in knowing yourself, your team members, and boosting yours and their self-confidence, self-worth, and belief. If you can do this, you're going to see a huge success in your business. Everything else will fall into place. You'll become a better prospector. You'll become a better salesperson. You'll become a better teacher, instructor, and leader. Focus a bit on yourself, develop the qualities that are needed, and become the best you. Have a great day, guys.